Wow, we just had a chat with Eamon Dan, the two founders of SummerJam. It's Australia's best basketball event. Over 6,000 people there. I just can't believe it.
Crazy, Jesse. It was an amazing event again this year. It's probably my favourite event in Melbourne, Australia for that matter. And the boys are doing an incredible job. It's not only my favourite event, Jordan Brand also sponsors it. It's one of the only events they sponsor worldwide. It's incredible what the guys are doing. It's an amazing story. So without further ado, let's jump into it, guys. Well, no, firstly, guys, I mean, thanks for taking time to come down. I know you guys are extremely busy. It's hard to knock you guys down on any given day. So thank you for being here, and thank you for the barbecue the other night. It was some great food.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
pleasure, and yeah, honestly, being on here, we've wanted to do it for a while. So being here is our honor, man. Like, yeah, stoked.
Cool. Well, let's start with SummerJam this year. It's somewhat fresh. You guys have had some time to reflect on it. Now, how does that feel? Kind of looking back at that.
Yeah, I mean, it was our biggest year yet. We had probably like 6,000 people come through. We had Melbourne, Perth, and we had probably all up probably about 300 players. So, when we're working so hard for 6 months or so of the year, and then coming out to see like the whole community come out, especially people that you don't see for a long time, the old school, the OGs, like the new talent coming through, from players to artists to creatives, all come together in the one spot just to celebrate the game. It feels special.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely think it feels special. This year was exactly what Daniel was saying, the best yet. But yeah, I think from what we've built it up, you still see those OGs. There's people there from day one. You see, new people, just insane. And it's new talent too. I think like the basketball that we had this year, and I think everyone pitching in was amazing. Perth was also wild, seeing the support that we get out in Perth and WA is.
That was the first year?
Second year.
Yeah.
So we did, we went over there and then lockdown happened and shut us out. I think a lot of WA, felt that. But we'd sort of planted the seed already. And so it was like, well, how do we do this? And man, Zoom, Google Meets, whatever, whichever way you want to do it, like it can happen. I think that's one thing that like lockdown did was like, if you want to do something, you can still do it. And we were saying before, it's just that, it's the new beginning. But we were lucky the boys over there pulled off an amazing tournament. For the first year. Well, we were just watching it through IG Live. We're just like, this is crazy. But, just having to watch it like through phones and stuff. So first time that we got a chance to go out, and they really showed up, man. Perth was awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of new beginnings, the biggest and best basketball event, you guys teamed up with Jordan this year. Tell us about that. Fuck, that's crazy, man.
I mean, Jordan was like the reason when we were kids. Like I remember I collected like all their sort of all these DVDs, Michael Jordan's Playground. I had the whole six.
Michael?
Yeah, well, there's Michael right there.
Close up of that.
So like,
Come Fly With Me.
Yeah,
the 6-disc one where you had
the
like
6-disc.
It was in red, six. It was game 6 shot. Like that's the cover.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about having it at my house or anything though. Like for ages.
Yeah. Ages meaning 1 year.
MJ's the reason.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we all know like.
Or for obviously for us growing up in the 90s and such. So nowadays it's awesome to see like the new generation come through and the people they idolize and such. But now we get to a certain point where our players that we idolize are retired, doing their brands. Just as like you guys are doing your brands, and for someone like MJ to recognize the SummerJam in Australia, like of all places in the world.
Wow, man.
He's like he's presidential in the basketball world. So, it's only like humbling for us, and obviously it's a point of recognition. I think recognition is like the main thing that you are doing the right things.
I've heard there's only like 2 events in the world or 3 basketball events in the world that they sponsor, and you guys happen to be one of them.
It's incredible.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's wild to think that that we're compared to Dykeman in the Bronx, which is like. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then K54 over in Paris, like to sit in that company is pretty cool. And yeah, for us, it's just it's obviously a dream that you don't even dream, but then you're like, no, this can happen. You're like, oh wow, like wow, yeah, we've got the Jumpman on our jerseys now. It's so like it's super cool. I mean, even for us, like I know that we got a couple of extra ones printed for our domestic team, right? You roll down, you're at MSAC, and you got Jordan jerseys on. Like I've never seen that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never seen that in a domestic league or anything. You're like, hold on a second. So that's on a smaller scale, obviously for us, and being like that's unreal. But just knowing that we have to like we're recognized at our company. Ideally, we'd want to be able to connect them, and then have the whole world rotating with basketball.
Yeah.
They're now new possibilities. You sort of think about.
Wow.
So cool how you've turned like that passion for like basketball and playing sport. And I can relate a lot, basketball has been a huge part of my life growing up. That's all I really cared about, East Bay, we were on there like 24/7, like 2K, whatever it was, like came up with that. So it's so cool to see, you guys kind of take that and turn it into something so much bigger than yourselves. It's just, I think, it's just incredible what you guys have built and the scale that it's now at, and to have people like Jordan on board and Foot Locker and these big names, it's just a testament to you guys and what you've built. So
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I want to double down on that as well. Like you guys have been at it for like 11, 12 years now. And like, I think the patience you show, like the vision, the care, and the fact that you're here, you're now getting paid to do this full time. It's taken a long time, but the fact that you've just been unwavering in that pursuit, I take my hat off. I'll take my hat off. It's just a Subway hat. I'll take it off. Take it off.
No, I appreciate that. I think for us, like, I think really it definitely wasn't a thought of like a career. It was more like our passion project on the side, because we all had like Eamon was, cutting hair. Like I was, on the tools, on the work sites. And so like we all had our day to day, but for us, like, when you retire or when you stop playing ball as like, I can't make the league. What do I do next? Like you've put your 10,000 hours in, but you still got so much to give. So like, what do you do? It's like the main things for us was like, we always played at the courts with our mates, and that was like our sort of getaway. And for that to make our getaway, our freeway is like, something that only dreams are made of, and we're like happy like to sort of like lead that and also inspire someone else to do the same, because it's not just basketball. You have photographers, you got creatives, people of all walks of life being part of this event. That it does take time, but consistency, hard work, all those like little things, those cliche things, if you put them into practice, like, that will come to fruition.
Yeah, I was saying to Jess before, just about all the little fractions around what the event is. The event's a basketball tournament, something we're super passionate about. But all the creative stuff around it, you guys are heavily involved in it. And they're all things that you have to respect with their own time as well. They're all like start to finish jobs. They can rotate around something and help elevate it, but they all deserve time. And so, us going full time and realizing there's so much more that we can grow to continue this to be our career, then we like it's what we do.
I can still remember watching Ben play in 2012, which I think was your first year.
That was a junior jam. Yeah, that was sick. That was sick.
Just to see like that was basically like a pickup tournament.
Yeah,
and to see that like evolve into what it is now, it just blows your mind, doesn't it? I mean, you guys will be pinching yourselves like thinking about that.
I mean, I've known Ben since when we were playing Sabres. I was probably under 18s, he was probably under 14s, and like
Benny and Sam just
I played with Sam and seeing where Ben is like, if anything, like I look at him as like a great role model for those under 6 foot at the time. Like those, like he's definitely someone as a player that I look at as just like, wow, you made it. Like you made it to the NBL, you made it to the league, and he's doing amazing things. Made the finals this year, and he's putting up numbers, putting up stats, and like he's also got a great family and such. But like the impact that he has on other people, he probably wouldn't even realize. But like he played at the SummerJam. He played with all of us, and now he's making it his own way, it's amazing to see.
Always super supportive too. You know,
Yeah.
I think that realizing that and yeah, he's such a wonderful dude. But yeah, or anytime we've wanted or needed something from him, he's just been like, "Yep, how can I help?"
It's just cool that you like pick up guys like that and like take them on this journey and provide them this pathway.
Yeah,
And you're doing that on so many fronts, not just the basketball players, but you know the creatives, which we'll get into because that's a big part of what you guys do too. But I guess back to that like evolution. When was there like a year when you guys were, wow, this is, you know, got monumentally bigger, or it's like a big shift from like being a pickup kind of tournament, more local, and now it's like this marquee event?
Yeah, I mean, like we've also, I mean, even before the SummerJam, like we've been part of the courts, been part of it like 10 years before that. So it was almost like Eamon always says, it came from a need. So it was more like, and we just filled the shoes. And so it hasn't, I never really felt like a feeling of overwhelm of like, but because I knew this is what we were meant to do. But saying that, like, there's a lot of things we've had to learn on the fly because there's no like university of how to run a festival, a street ball championship or festival. But that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's the beauty of like, you know, going out on a limb and backing yourself and doing that with your mates. It's that like, you know, you can fall over, but you got someone to pick you up.
On that note, like, what's that look like this year? You know, it's 2023, it's Jordan. This is huge. Like, what are the things that you guys are doing? Because you're working 6 months, a year, you know, behind to get this going, right? Like, people probably
3 days.
Yeah, like you guys are working bloody fucking hard in the behind the scenes. So, is there like health and safety? Like, what's the shit you guys are doing behind the scenes that people don't know?
It's a good question. What are we doing behind the scenes? We're doing
a lot of it is like we're dealing with teams,
admin. Yeah, and teams of people, and and everything you do, you got to follow up as well. So like if you're dealing with a team, you could break it down as like your media, competitions. You could do special ops. What else we got?
Ticketing,
volunteers. There's volunteers and staffing.
Food,
and beverage. There's bar, hospitality. I mean,
sponsorship.
Partnerships is huge as well. And there's so many things, and they're all things that you got to get sorted on the back end. Yeah. Everything, and you got to put it all into a structure. Really, like where do you find these things?
I suppose getting the council on board too, and
getting that. I mean, they're all different things, and they've all got to gel and sort of rotate together. It's like a snowball, you know what I mean?
Sounds overwhelming. Like, how do you guys overcome that?
Look, I think that's the thing about it is that we've done it for 11 years, so like we've built it slowly each year. We haven't like come out. It's like, you know, here's the home run. It's like we don't like we're building with our growth. So we're bringing in new teams, and then and it's the same thing. A lot of the people that come in are from the community. So, like we said, like we haven't got like people that have got university degrees in this and these sort of fields. But the whole point is that it's a community initiative to make it work. And if something doesn't work, that's okay. Let's fix
it next time. I think like also that like people haven't learned from university. They've learned at the SummerJam.
Yeah,
they've been at like, you know, all of them. So it's like, all right, how do we improve? And that's the sort of energy we get from, you know, all the people that are in and around the jam. It's like, how can I help? How can I make this thing to what it is? Which has been amazing. Like testament to everyone that's helped us along our journey. Because we wouldn't be where we are without them. Really, like the team that we have. But people are learning, and I think for us, that growth is that's part of the growth, and it's really important to see. Because Daniel and I, we have to. And able to give more, try and do a little less than what we're doing. So delegating things, growing the team. I think that's been, huge this year as well. That's probably where we're looking at going. I might say our growth has gone, that's great. It's all the back end stuff. Like the days go by as a blur. You know what I mean? But you're just like, okay, where do we do really well so it could go by?
Yeah, a role came from like, cleaning the park to like now, no, like we've got to step back and empower someone else to do the jobs necessary to make this happen.
Was that hard for you guys?
I mean, I'm still out there cleaning with my squeegees.
Yeah.
But
in general terms, like taking a step back and then other people kind of control the narrative a bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is tough. it's tough, but it's something that like I think
for the reward, it's worth it. It's worth going through it
to grow. Right?
Yeah, and there's in so many different ways, because at the end of the day, Daniel and I created it. You know, yeah, you know, you still are. Like in the beginning, you're definitely precious about your idea or your brand being passed off to someone, and them upholding a certain, you know, standard like we would, because it's our own thing. Like you guys would know with your garments, like it's your quality, your name out there that you want to do. So being able to pass that on, I think, is always going to be a difficult skill as a human. But
there's like 1,000 ways to skin a cat as well. Like when someone fresh comes in, they come with new ideas, they come with a new approach, and sometimes you just got to like trust the process, and that can actually end up being the most powerful thing. It's like, I didn't actually necessarily think to do it that way, but you know, if it works best, then that's the best idea wins.
I suppose now that you've opened those doors to having people come in, you're now attracting, you know, amazing people in terms of freelancers from, you know, like food and beverage places, sponsors, athletes. So by you doing that, it's, you know, paying dividends, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we can, like I said, the jam cannot be done without the team that is involved and the people that are part of it. It's a group thing.
Team.
It's like true community, because I mean, Jack and I, we do this podcast a lot. We harp on about community. It's the new buzzword of like marketing. It's like build a community, but I don't think people understand that it takes 11 years of being out cleaning the courts, you know, with your bare hands and like being real. And I think what I love to see is, you know, we had Crubbo on here a while ago, and she was telling us like the amount of opportunity she got through you guys and what came of that. You know, she was landing big shoots because she was shooting with you guys. And so it's so reciprocated, like the love that, you know, that's I think what true community is. When it comes full circle, it's like you give, you get, everyone kind of like raises together.
Correct.
You know? Yeah, I think like what we celebrate. It's like, in a way, it's like, it's hard to say we're necessarily a pathway when we're doing it once a year, because we're not, but we're here to celebrate what everyone's done and achieved. And I think for us, cool. Like that is to be recognized is sometimes all the thing you need to have the confidence to do the next thing. Yeah. And I think that's like as powerful as the actions themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also, just having that platform. I think we want to extend that to year round, and something like Karabo's stories. It warms our heart, you know, and we love Karabo. She's done amazing work. But to see that as like us giving the step, just knowing that like, you know, we want to be able to do that year round. I think that's
sick.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so dope.
Speaking of the platform you guys have now, like it's just growing and growing each and every year. I'd love to dive deep into how you've gone about, I guess, growing that platform over the years.
You said the other day, like your marketing, like companies are calling you, how'd you build this? Like, where's your university degree? You know, like, how do you know this stuff?
Exactly. Well, Daniel will take all that for the marketing stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's fine. Like, even
I just rub my mouth.
It works.
Even though, like, we would be, like, so like you said, like, a lot of it is just, like, I did go, because I went to play ball in college. I came back. I did business degree in college, but then came back and did design school. But it was, like, I'm not, like, Eamon's actually a really good drawer, but for me, I just sort of learnt just like more like a eye for detail of certain things, but not necessarily the skill or talent to do it. And I used to do all the videos ourselves, like, and a lot of that was based on like AND1 mixtapes where, and also the skate scene, because we drew a lot of inspiration from the skate scene because we grew up in it. Like that was where
film everything, make mixtapes. Like you guys would know. It's super cool.
So I started doing that ourselves. Like the skaters and Pram would do it. I'll do it. We play at the court, so we did it ourselves, and we've got a lot of archival footage of all that. So
that's fun.
Yeah, so a lot of it is really just come from the passion of it, and then I really did it till like 2016, 17, 18, and then like after that, bringing on that new. That new fresh talent, because as well, the one thing I've realized, and I think just like scoping out, like when you're young in your 20s, that like if you're like over a certain point in your life or over a certain age, like you're not in the game anymore, you're not cool anymore, you're not like in touch with what the people want. And I'm
Sad
like,
to hear, isn't it?
I know. It's funny you say it. Just we asked this guy, he runs this big sort of TikTok agency, and we're like, "What's your number one secret? Like, you guys have to have your TikTok's changing every 5 seconds, right? Like, how are you guys always leading?" And he goes, "We just hire young. Like, get someone in that's like, as you said, that's like finger on the pulse. They're 18, probably straight out of school."
but that's the perspective that you had when you're young, because it's like, man, I don't know what's up. But then it's like, now I'm that age, or that approach. So I'm thinking about my family, or thinking about doing things that aren't necessarily like, going to keep me in touch. So, that's the whole point. You reach out to those that know what's up.
So what does that look like for you guys?
humbling.
How are your teams structured in terms of like marketing, social media, everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's a continual process. Like, we've got like, generally Eamon will deal with like a lot of the competitions and ops, and then like
Scheduling, council, Daniel will do all the
I'll do the marketing.
media design. And then there's things that we'll both pitch in on together. But yeah, generally if you split it into 4, it's just like Daniel will do the marketing and
Ticketing.
and then I'll sort of do the back end with council and logistics.
Yeah.
But then like I said, we were saying before, there's so many areas.
But that's not saying that we're doing it. It's like we're
Yeah.
bringing the
Managing.
comms to managing,
yeah.
like who's actually managing. And then it's like team. It's basically working with teams.
How many people did you have like in that team this year?
How many did you invite to?
I don't know. It was like around about 60. 60 would be probably like a good number.
Damn.
And that's just like, I mean, like, well, you could scale it back to about 40 because you two are in business together, right? So it's like,
Right.
that's what,
Like adding us. and-
yeah, exactly. But I think, it definitely sits around that, and that's just sort of manages for areas, I think do you know the number of volunteers we had?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were probably over 100, maybe 120.
And so that's something, someone would have to manage on the day throughout the time. So, there's a lot of people that are involved in something like this.
And I know, like, through speaking to some volunteers, that's a real sought after position, right? Because the platform, working, say, on your resume, I was working for Jordan Brand, like this basketball event, SummerJam. It's a big, like, what you guys have created is like insane in terms of that demand.
It's nuts to think that someone could call me because they've got someone's resume and maybe a reference. Like, out of the SummerJam, you're just like, what? Yeah, he loves Foot Locker. Good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's wild to think. But yeah, I mean, and Daniel's done a great job with some of the teams that he's managed with guys like Juan, who's been incredible at just creating content and doing so much for us. But like managing a team or Mark this year, he managed the media, but just to oversee everything that, that they're doing. And just know, that's going in absolutely kicking goals, It's not just going in the right direction, it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's on the highway.
So you guys are clearly empowering, like, a lot of young creators, a lot of like free vision. How do you go about on the opposite end of the spectrum with a lot of the big corporates? I know you have Red Bull, like these big global companies. You guys are very passionate and have a strong vision. How do you balance the big corporate visions?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, like I said, like we have done this for a long time now. That there's that thing that we're not necessarily like chasing the brands. Like the brands want to connect to the community.
Yeah.
So in the sense that like they'll like with any sort of partnership, you want to what are the key asks that they are looking for, and it's really the beautiful thing. It's like I said, like it comes down to communication and the team, and everyone's very reasonable within that team. It's like, all right, this is what we need to achieve, and this is the ask from the sponsor. I mean, Nike, Jordan, Foot Locker, been amazing to work with, like in terms of like the creativity and there's just been more. It's more of us being a support base than anything feel like hanging over our head.
That's dope.
So like it's definitely been more from like they felt like they've pushed up rather than like taking away.
Yeah.
Have you had to knock back any opportunities, like with certain brands, like, oh, that doesn't align,
Yeah, I mean,
For sure.
naturally,
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, and even into our personal lives, you know what I mean? It's just like, what sneakers are you wearing? You know what I mean? It's sort of like you got to be comment, you got to be about it. So there are opportunities that have come up, or we might try to play it forward or whatever, and help out if we can. But yeah, there's other brands knocking around that want to do what we've done. I think, but Daniel and I, having done it for 11 years, we're sort of just like, well, we're sort of on the path that we want to be on now. We're not just going to try and jump at anything or everything. I think the partners that we had this year were incredible. And in terms of scale, it's sort of, who can be bigger than some of these things in Australia. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, the working relationships with them has been awesome because they've come in and, like Daniel said, it's the community. You can throw money at something. Is it going to last? You know, like is it going to be what it's meant to be, or what is it going to replicate what we've achieved?
Yeah.
It's kind of like what the whole point of, like, especially what we're doing is, like, with or without partners, we will be around. But what the partners are there for is really to turn that ember into a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, celebrate it.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like even if the partners aren't there, we're still burning, you know, and it's still happening. We don't rely, like, it's not the key source of, like, us being sustainable.
Yeah. The community is the key source, I would say.
Exactly.
And back to Ben playing in 2012, like, you've brought that same feel, like there's that same core, like, value set kind of underneath the SummerJam, even today, as it was in 2012, which is pretty special to be able to say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you love the game, you know, you go over above and beyond, and I think for us, it's like now it's definitely to the point where it's like, okay, we want this. This is our lives, and, like, we want this to be the rest of our lives. So, you know, how do we keep on, you know, connecting what we're doing to the world?
I think there's such a beautiful thing about, you know, I've touched on it before, I want to say it again, like the fact that it's taken you 11 years of just slow, serious passion. You know, you haven't wavered, you haven't taken a little brand deal here, little, like, sell-out moment. It's just been consistent. And I think that's why you have the biggest brands in the world working with you guys, because they've also been around for squillions of years, and that's probably how they built too. I mean, and that's a great lesson for anyone listening. It's like, you got to be able to just, or be willing to put in 10 years. And if you're not, then, like, probably don't go into it, right?
Yeah, I think especially now, as opposed to, like, I think how the world was, like, maybe a while back was like there's so many gaps missing with, like, the thing is that there's so many good ideas now that it's not competitive, the idea. Every idea, no idea is new now. It's like, who can last the longest?
Or who does it best?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just thinking that it keeps you on your toes. And like I say it all the time, right? This is day one for what we're doing. And that's sort of how we envision it. Because, we want to stay hungry. Yeah. And want to keep growing. So,
yeah.
That's what I feel like your strength. You know, whenever I see you guys out, you guys are always just like, it's day one. It's like you guys are just come from the courts 10 years ago, like as hungry as ever.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
Overnight success takes 10 years. That's what it is. It's just like, okay.
We're still 20.
Yeah, we're not cool anymore, but we're still doing it, you know?
It's dope.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your guys' relationship in terms of working together for 11 years.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, me and Eamon, like, we're more like brothers. Like, like you fight like brothers, we make up like brothers, and we party like brothers.
It's all love. I think, for us, we've both got different skill sets, and that's why it works. But I think our working relationship is that, like, we've got a common goal that we just know we've got each other's backs in. We're in life together. It's not just like we're in business together. We're in life together. I like that. I think we've also said, like, you know, hey, if things get too rough, hey, we're happy to throw it all away. I want Daniel Eller, my best friend, to be the person I, you know, finish my life with. You know, so in terms of how we grow, cool. We might be, you know, like any working relationship, you're gonna have your moments, but you forget them all for where you're gonna go and what you're achieving, what you're continuing to achieve as you evolve. You know, as a human as well.
Beautiful, yeah. It's real beautiful.
Are there things that you guys do on a daily basis or regularly that you would attest, like, those 11 years to, that have kept you in good stead?
Play basketball against each other.
Let out all that energy.
You can let out that competitive spirit. Yeah.
I mean,
we should start doing that. Maybe not.
Please.
I mean, the whole family is just very. They're just more lighthearted, funny people. So I think, I think it's really just like, just move on. The next day is just the next day, and it's. I think we forget things pretty quickly.
Yeah. I know. I had a chat with you, Eamon, at would have been at Brother Wolf at an event a little time ago, and we were just talking about business. And obviously, me and Jesse are in a similar boat, like best mates in business together. And I was kind of trying to pick your brain a little bit because you're 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
And you were just harping on communication
Yeah.
and timely communication and how important
Yeah.
that was. Yeah.
I think definitely at those times as well. I mean, like Daniel and I are still growing, like we know. But, you know, we were going through, open communication, on it was like Monday morning. Woman Jekka, everybody, let's sit down and talk about why we're here, like what our purpose is and what works and what doesn't. I think, as the event got busier and busier.
We did that every Monday.
Monday.
Every Monday's start of the week, we would just talk about like our own purpose.
Yeah.
And then even just taking aside the business, just like where we want to be, I guess, as people in the next, whatever, coming months, coming weeks, coming years, whatever. I think just us, those little personal chats were just meant something they're looking forward to each week, rather than just talking business or talking.
And this is if this is our job, sick. How can you not be excited to be hold on, this is what we're doing? So definitely those things are very, very important.
Yeah.
I love that exercise. You're sort of humanizing. Sometimes you can lose. It's a roller coaster what you guys are doing, right? To say the least. It's 6,000 people coming through these events, working with the world's biggest brands. It's easy to get caught in those headlights of fuck, there's so much to go and do here. But just step back for a second and be we've been best friends forever.
Yeah.
We're brothers. Let's feel that out.
Yeah.
And because that's way more special, as you said. That. But what you guys have built is more special than what you're doing in that. You know what I mean? You can never overlook brotherhood.
Funny how that tends to break the tension that you have building up as well from a business sense. I remember me and Jesse have just started doing it actually. So it's funny you guys brought that up. And I remember the first time there was a few things and there was a little bit of tension with some different matters. And we were just talking Jesse, how are you kind of thing. And we let some stuff out and it was I feel great now.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a true person, a real person, is that you got to be able to, as soon as you're passionate about something, you hold things, but you also, if you love something so much, you got to let things go.
Correct.
And then it's always, nothing's left or gone or, everything's always available to you in abundance. It's just that you just need to know when to push and pull.
Shout out to the OGs there.
Unreal. Good plug.
Nah, dude, well said.
So where are we going, fellas? It's been 11 years of building. I think you guys are only going to bigger and better heights. I'd love to hear about what this next year looks like. Maybe let's start there.
Where are we going? There's so many places we're going and so many different elements of what we're doing are growing too. I think competition-wise, us being able to do some stuff similar to what we're doing in Perth, but being able to really connect Australia through that sort of grassroots basketball. I think you guys have been to the open runs as well, some of our favorite days. As a qualifier, we sort of want to engage in that in and around Australia, potentially start to grow that internationally as well, which we see a real market for. Definitely. I mean, I can't wait to sort of see New Zealand, potentially go into Southeast Asia, and that kind of expansion from a grassroots perspective. So we can bring everything here and grow Melbourne and have Melbourne as the heart, the home, in the Southern Hemisphere. But we really want to earn that as well. Can't just go and invite a team from here, there, without them having proved themselves and go, oh yeah, cool, this is now the standard. When if we give everyone else a chance, it's hey, no, it's going to start developing the right way. So I think competition-wise, that's definitely one of our goals. I think,
Yeah, I mean...
There's so much to talk about. We go back and forth.
I know you guys have a lot going on. Yeah.
I was gonna say our merch line. We hopefully we get something pulled together with lines through the winter, through the summer. Definitely us as an event. I think we've definitely recognized we've built that over such a long period of time that it's quite self-sustainable. But what are other things that we could bring around the event that can really just amplify even further.
Sure.
And that's, that comes to merch and comes to our brand, us as a brand. So it's definitely working, our minds around that too.
There's a lot of things that you can do, I suppose, in that growth too, that do take time. And
definitely. And we're so excited to help you guys with the merch, especially with your journey, Jack, over the last few years doing SummerJam. It's there's probably no better partnership that we're involved in, really.
Cool.
Yeah.
We love that.
We love that.
It's funny, I still remember the time I was getting cut by you, Eamon, in Brother Wolf.
Yeah.
And we probably only knew each other for maybe 3-4 months, 6 months at the most. And, you know, something about you, Eamon, is you feel like your best mates. You know, the moment you meet you, you're great at that. But yeah, we were just having a chat. You were cutting my hair. And I just kind of started the wholesale with Blank Earth, the business I was running. It was a pretty new business. And you were just like, oh, man, I'm looking for merch for SummerJam. And like, can you do it? And I was like, fuck, like, just kind of caught me off guard. I was like, I just didn't expect to like have that question.
I work people up in a barbershop.
Yeah,
it was the right time for me.
But I suppose it's just like
Butter them up.
Yeah,
That's it.
but like, I suppose just that point in my journey as well. Like, I just probably didn't expect it, and it was cool. And you know, I said yes and figured it out. And I think it was a pretty short turnaround, if I remember. And we made it happen. And I think that's just what I love about, you know, you guys and what you do is you put people on like that and give people opportunities.
I think, like Daniel was saying earlier about the opportunity that we provide for other people to excel. Yeah, it's exactly it. It's your Carabo. It's something like you guys. It's any of our media team, really. Any athletes too. You know, if anything comes up, it's like, hey, now we're being able to sort of do that. But yeah, for us, it's all about engaging with the right people that are going to help growth as well. You know, they're not going to be they're the young kids, the cool kids that know exactly what they're doing on the phone, on the media stuff. It's you guys coming up knowing that you want quality, you demand quality of your garments. And I knew that, like that's sort of what I sensed in you. And so that was what I would follow and go, yeah, cool. Let's see. And what a wonderful partnership it's been so far. Like,
For sure.
I can't wait for these hoodies, which, you know, we'll get onto. They're going to be
For sure.
Way too excited.
Yeah.
I was wearing it last night at Moomba Festival.
Yeah.
And man, I was comfy as. That's 10 o'clock.
I'm glad.
Yeah, really, really cool. And I think that we're excited to continue that growth with something like this, you know.
Sure.
Recognizing that, hey, you guys are doing this, cool. How can we grow?
I think the one thing is like, because we've been there in the hustle and grind of like trying to start something. Like, I think we just naturally like attract to people that are doing the same. And especially like I said, like you guys are, you know, a lot of the people that we see is like, we see a bit of ourselves, not like, you know, but just a little bit of that same like grind and like if we've got an opportunity to be able to be there, then like it makes, you know, us fulfilled, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's so
Super
awesome.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much to be said for that, and like, and the way you guys, you know, all across the board, from like social media, like marketers, and like for people that go to SummerJam, there's people say there's more cameras than players. You know, like,
It's getting to that point.
because you guys are just giving everyone those opportunities. You know,
When you put the call out for volunteer media, it's overwhelming. It's nuts.
it's hard to decipher
Who's
that.
shuffling through those
Well,
DMs?
I luckily palm that to Hannah.
Shout out to Hannah.
Shout out to Hannah. Yeah.
that's dope, man.
There's a lot of, and that's volunteer. Like that's another role. You know what I mean? That you're dealing with, and that's media as well as hands-on. So like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I reckon, yeah, we get probably about 150, 200 applications just as media. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
tough.
But then back, you know, year one, you guys are probably hitting up 200 people to come down, right? So it's like it's funny how it swings around.
Oh, it just used to be me.
Yeah,
it was literally Daniel and a couple of our mates. So it was just like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Technology was different back then, though.
yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So
Boys, thanks for coming on. We thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, nothing but love. You guys know what it is, and keep doing your thing. It's amazing what you guys build.
Appreciate it, boys. Man, much love.
thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yes.
Dude, crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to Paris. We all move this here.